right, we are Land and Realty Group. This is Nancy Gonzalez and Ivan Vasquez helping you with the topic of probate today. Now, just to kind of recap, I'm a realtor over at Land and Realty Group. Ivan, Jen, and myself started the probate division in our brokerage, and we are helping families navigate through this emotional and just, really just hard time in families' lives. Probate is not something that we take lightly. We are experienced agents that help you through the entire process, right, Ivan?
That's absolutely right. First and foremost, I kind of want to apologize. I am in a hospital setting. I did come to see my wife, so if you guys hear any background noise, I do want to apologize. I am trying to do my best to kind of minimize the background noise. But yes, like Nancy said, it is something that we take very seriously and that we strive to achieve everything we can for our clients.
And with that said, we're also very human. So that's why we do these from everywhere. I've been at the hospital, me from home. So we are still human, okay? So with that said, the probate, just to recap a little bit on it, probate usually happens when a person, a family member inherits a property from a person that unfortunately died, and either the petitioner has asked to be the administrator of the estate, or it was just given to them. So with that said, there's two ways that you can go about this process, and that's being a probate pro per or a probate non pro per, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. So what is a pro per? If you decide to go on the probate process, being a pro per, it means that you are a petitioner or a person who appears in front of the court without an attorney. So no legal representation. You are choosing to take on this process on your own. Of course, you always are entitled to a lawyer. You can hire them, but you are literally choosing to do this on your own. Right, Ivan?
Yes. Anytime you are a pro per, like Nancy mentioned, you kind of not waive your rights to legal representation, but something might have inspired you along the way to believe that being a pro per is the best alternative for you. So I'll let Nancy guide us to the next slide, and we'll continue explaining a little bit more of what a pro per really entails.
So reason why someone would choose to be a pro per comes down to the majority of the time is because of the money. People inherit a property that they don't have money to represent, right? Or keep up, or, their, legal fees are not inexpensive, right? They do cost a little bit. So they want to try and save some money, or someone just says, you know what, I think I can do this process on my own, and decides that they're going to save a couple of bucks by not having a representation by an attorney. So they're basically saying, I'm capable and understand all the required forms, and I will handle it on my own. Now, we're not saying that this is a negative, like a lot of people choose to do it, but if you do decide to do that, we highly, highly recommend that you have someone on your team like us, the real estate, land and real estate consultation group that can help guide you through that. But it is a lengthy, process when you choose to be a pro per.
Yeah, and keep in mind, that anytime there are any paperwork that's being submitted to court, if it's not done correctly, the judge and the administrative people at the courthouse will probably kick that back to you, and it's just going to cost you more money every time you have to file. So it's very important that if you do decide to be a pro per, that you've done your homework, you at least have a good point of reference, whether it's us or the internet. It's always good to explore your options and make sure that everything, any questions that you have are answered correctly.
That's true. We also have literature on that. So if you guys want a copy, just email us and then we can send you a copy on the process on how to do this. So what is a non-pro per, Ivan?
So simply put, a non-pro per is someone who just does want an attorney, someone to guide them through the process, someone It can either be an attorney or a legal representative that specializes in the matter at hand. In this case, of course, it's probate. And that's kind of it with the non-proper. I mean, in this case, you just basically let the attorney handle everything from filing to distributing the net proceeds after the sale. So it's basically just letting someone else who's more experienced handle the situation for you.
Exactly, exactly. Sorry, I was having a hard time unmuting myself there. I was
Oh,
like
no worries.
nodding my head. Yeah, yeah. And
No, it's
why would
okay. I think about like in the setting that I'm at. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm in a hospital, right? And I'm talking about probate. And I was just like, holy shit. I'm at a hospital talking about probate where, people pass every day. Like I was like, oh my God, people are gonna look at me like, look at this vulture just waiting for people to pass or something.
No, I know. Well, I mean, we are sending your wife some speedy recovery.
Thank you.
So why is legal representation right for you? Why would
Um,
someone choose to do so besides, the paperwork and all that? Why would someone just choose to say, here you go, this is it, I want the attorney?
well, most of the time it's because they want to avoid family conflict. When you inherit a property, you often, most of the time, there are siblings involved, cousins, any other family member. And once that head of household is gone, it's kind of a free for all. Everyone turns on you. Money kind of has a funny way of changing what people's perspective are of you. And having an attorney just kind of keeps that in line and makes sure that, there's a clear understanding of what's going to be done, how it's going to be done, and how much it's going to cost. So there's no, oh, why is Johnny getting this and not me? So that's a reason why you would want an attorney with you. Another reason is you can access the estate. So what I mean by accessing the estate is when you have legal representation, you're able to access a property faster, whether it's the belongings inside the property itself. The attorneys usually expedite this process because they're not going to make those mistakes that a pro per would make by maybe not filing the correct paperwork or missing to sign a certain line or check a certain box. Attorneys, look over it multiple times to make sure that everything is done correctly. And another one is preventing claims against the estate. You're going to have a lot of people approach you, call you, whether it's other realtors that, claim to have experience, creditors or anything like that. They will always be, coming after you. So having an attorney is pretty much the best way to prevent all of those things from happening.
Of course, of course. And one of the things that we want to mention is that there is no right or wrong way to go about that. We have dealt with clients that have been pro-pers and clients that have been non-pro-pers, right? And they have been successfully done this. It is a matter of what you choose and what is best for you and your family and your situation. With that said, I think Jen, in our previous podcast, if you missed the first episode, go back and check it out. She gave the example about how, she was basically helping two sisters who kept fighting and just could not talk to each other, trying to sell these properties that were their parents. And it is intense. So sometimes when you have legal representation, it helps ease that. We also have a client with Ivan. She is in East LA and she chose to do it on her own. She chose to go, do pro per. Eventually she just said, this is emotionally draining and it is a little bit tiring. So if you guys have someone that we work with, and of course we do, we have a various of referrals, we recommended her to speak to one of our attorneys who helped make this process easier. And she is just starting to do this, right?
Yeah, and ultimately, Nancy was actually with me when we had this appointment. She was so, she had a strong will of doing this on her own. And, we kept trying to explain to her, hey, the complexity of the court is pretty high. And, we recommend an attorney. We, of course, didn't try to force her to get one, but we kind of anticipated that at some point she would be needing one. And luckily, she came in contact with Nancy, and Nancy was able to refer her to one of our great attorneys that we work with. and now she's getting taken care of. And she actually called us yesterday to thank us that, hey, this is a lot more complicated than just filing a bunch of paperwork and waiting on court dates, because like I mentioned earlier, if something is wrong, they're going to send it back, you're going to pay more, and it just becomes very messy.
But we also have clients that decide to take it on their own, like John, our current family, right? They're not in California, but they decided that they wanted to do this on their own, and they are pro pers, and they're successfully navigating through it. So again, it really comes down to what is best for you and your situation, right?
Yeah.
In a continuation to that, do you have anything else to add with that, Ivan?
No, it's just pretty straightforward. When you have an attorney, you're getting all the protection that you can to protect yourself, because you, as an administrator, are responsible for the assets and distribution. But just having an attorney gives you a sense of relief that, hey, if I have a question, it's going to be answered. If the IRS sends me a letter because maybe something was incorrectly valued, or there's some taxes that need to be paid, you can always rely on your attorney to back you up, the same way that you can rely on us to guide you through the process of selling the assets, whether it's a small home in East LA, or whether it's a larger estate like the one that we have in Toluca Lake that we're going to be listing at the end of the month. We are there every step of the way to make sure that all your questions are answered, all your needs are met. And, we keep in constant communication with the attorney, not to the extent where they're actually going to start billing the estate for the time that they take to answer these phone calls, but just so that we have a game plan that is clear and that is consistent. It's going to, at the end of the day, be able to take care of the beneficiaries in the best way possible.
I love it. I love it. So, as to recap, this is our episode, but the way you guys decide to go about this is, it's not an easy process. We've seen it in a lot of our clients, with a lot of our families. It is emotionally draining. You just lost someone, in your life. You have to deal with this. This isn't like a regular sell where you sell and buy, a couple of times in your life. This is an entire process, and it's long, it's lengthy, it's emotionally draining for the family. And so we are here to help. We're your Land and Realty Group probate specialist. We come with various referrals like estate planning, appraisers, realtors, contractors. We come with a variety of referrals. So if you guys need attorneys, CPAs, anybody that you might think of, or someone that that can use our help, contact us. We are Land and Realty Group. You can is it Probate at LRGLA?
Yes.
Probate at LRGLA. Obviously, our strong suit is not the admin, but but we take care of the business. I am Nancy Gonzalez, and I am with Ivan Vasquez, and we. Any questions you may have, again, Probate at LRGLA.
And before we let you guys go, I just want to leave you guys with this. Ultimately, you have the power to decide whether choosing legal representation is right for you or not. And if you do decide to have legal representation by your side, remember that you are always in control. The attorney works for you, just like the realtors work for you, just like your CPA works for you. Don't be intimidated by the fact that they are attorneys and they have referrals of their own to make or influence decisions. Remember, you have to remain in control. Yes, they're there to guide you, but ultimately, if it has to come to it, you can terminate your relationship with an attorney, just like you can terminate your relationship with any other business professional. So on that note, we'll let you guys go. I hope that you guys have a great day. And if, like Nancy said, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to email us, call us. We're always available to take any calls.